We are talking about a leaking furnace today and if that's a problem and what we can do about it. Bobby Johnson from Golden Rule Plumbing, Heating and Cooling joins us now to give us some insight on this. You get a lot of questions about this, right?
Yeah, we do. It's a very common call. Obviously, that can be a little disturbing when we see something like that. And it's kind of a year-round problem because there's several factors for it. So just to tell you a little bit about what's going on and kind of what to do, since it is a common question, we figured, you know, that would be some good tips and tricks. So there is, not to get too technical, but the inducer motor's in the top half of your furnace, and that's what pushes the exhaust, the CO2, out of the house. Well, that naturally produces some condensation in the higher efficient furnaces, and so that trap there that can leak, or the condensation lines, obviously we want to keep an eye on that. And that's, of course, if we lose that, then we don't have heat. That will shut itself down because it's exhausting that CO2.
So that's the first sign you don't have heat?
Well, that could be one, but sometimes you see the water building up on its own. Sometimes it can produce condensation on the outside of the furnace itself, as well as you may even get a puddle around the furnace. So it's not something that we're commonly looking or checking, so it's just a good tip and trick to talk about, because when you're in that furnace room area, oftentimes there's storage. You know, take a look around, make sure you don't notice something like that, because that can help keep you from a cold situation.
Yeah.
But same thing in the summer and air conditioning season. Then when we have some issues with refrigerant getting low or an airflow issue, it doesn't push all of that cold that it's producing out of the system, and ice starts to form. It'll shut itself down again then, so then you won't have cooling, and that ice melts. And so that's when you see the bigger puddles around. So yeah, if you're starting to notice something not acting right, or hearing something or seeing it doesn't feel quite right, then...
So is this an emergency call then? Do we need to get someone to see it right away?
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes they can still be running at that time, but of course, these pieces of equipment aren't supposed to have water inside them running around loosely. So yeah, it will start causing other problems, taking out other electrical components, and it can snowball pretty quickly. So
could it be dangerous as well if you don't get it fixed?
Well, not in most cases. Obviously, anytime water, electricity, that's not a good thing. But these systems are so well made with safeties that turn themselves off before things like that can happen. So not dangerous to the home necessarily, or those in it, but of course it's more dangerous for the equipment to leave it alone.
And this is probably where being a member of the Gold Club would come in handy, because you would be checking it and making sure everything's going well.
Yes, you do that routine maintenance, and so hopefully we catch those things ahead of time. But if you do get in these scenarios, because not going to catch them all, they have a mind of their own, and when they're working harder, then these things creep up. So but yeah, Gold Club membership, you got us on call, you go to the front of the list, and here we come. Perfect.
Bobby Johnson, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks again for having me.
And you can find Golden Rule Plumbing, Heating and Cooling in Grimes at 904 Northeast Main Street. Call 888-986-2424 to set up an appointment today, or go online to goldenrulephc.com. You can also find Golden Rule on Facebook and Instagram. There's so much going on at Broadlawn's Medical Center, from new rooms to new leadership. See the changes in store for patients and guests.